Okay, this is Fan Formula on the 18th of March, just following the Melbourne Grand Prix. Question 1. Williams appear to have come back strong with a great midfield battle between Maldonado, and I'm guessing that's meant to say between Maldonado and Alonso. But what did you make of the midfield teams today battling against the likes of Ferrari and Mercedes? Well, I must say I was absolutely overcome with joy seeing a Williams fighting against a Ferrari. Granted, the Ferrari was a bit out of position, but nonetheless the Williams was there on merit, not quite on attrition. So Pastor put the car there through his skill. It's a bit of a shock seeing the midfield teams fight with Ferrari and Mercedes, but then again, we knew the grid was going to be tighter, so their mistakes, the top team's mistakes, are allowing the midfield teams that aren't making mistakes to capitalise on everything, and Williams and Sauber probably take the fight to Ferrari more often, assuming Ferrari don't turn their car around, which, them being Ferrari, they will. We'll have to see how things go for the next couple of races though, because it might just be that the track played into the hands of the Williams and the Sauber setup this time, and I know Pastor Maldonado quite likes street circuits and that style of circuit, so he might have done much better, whereas you see Bruno in the other Williams, but before he had his coming together with Massa, he was only in 14th and not making much progress, so we'll have to have a mixture of circuits first before we can fully take a conclusion from that. Question 2. What do you make of the move that lets backmarkers unlap themselves under the safety car? Does it just prolong the safety car, or is it fair on those that would be out of place due to unlapped cars? I think it's better maybe on the aspect of it being a safety thing, because the two Cosworth powered teams are not very quick when on a restart, so rather than have the risk of closing speeds like say HRT, say if it was Jenson, using today as an example, say if Jenson Button was first and he was behind the safety car first, then say there was an out of position HRT behind him and then Vettel behind that, the HRT is quite right in my opinion. The HRT is there to race, it's not there to make up the numbers, so for me, you know, make the Red Bull, make Vettel work. However, considering, you know, tyre temperatures and pressures will have dropped a bit, it's a bit unsafe to do. So I think maybe it's more of a safety measure, so you don't have a closing speed differential, you don't suddenly have cars diving out the way, but then if you've got 3 or 4 cars abreast and then you've suddenly got a back marker trying to get out the way, it's just gonna end in a big veil of tears. Now question 3, I've got the BBC question because I watched it on the BBC. If you watched via the BBC, how did you find watching the highlights show rather than live coverage? Did it lack the excitement knowing that the race was already over? The problem I found was I didn't really want to find out who had won, and unfortunately, because I follow a lot of Formula 1 people on Twitter, which is no bad thing, but unfortunately because I follow a lot of people like that on Twitter, and I've liked quite a few Formula 1 pages on Facebook, when I went on there and when I woke up this morning, you know, just part of my waking up routine, they're like, oh, I know who won the bloody race. I didn't think it was just part of my routine, so I just did it. That got a bit annoying, but the BBC coverage is suffering quite badly. It's not been too bad, but it's quite obvious it's really hurting, and I'm still not for the Sky coverage. I know Sky are doing a good job at it, or from what I hear they're doing a good job, should I say. On principle, because I don't like Rupert Murdoch, I can't abide the Sky coverage, and to be honest, the Sky coverage is probably only as good as it is because they nicked a lot of the BBC coverage people who made the coverage on the BBC as good as it was. It said the coverage wasn't bad. I haven't seen an F1 forum yet. I thought there were going to be 20 F1 forums live after the race, so unless I've turned the coverage off too early and I'm missing a forum, I don't know, but that said, we've only had one race, so you know, they might just be getting slowly into it. Like the BBC coverage back in 2009, it wasn't brilliant when it started, but that was because they were just finding their feet, so in effect they're having to start all over again. We'll have to wait and see for the BBC's first complete coverage. The only thing that I found annoying on the whole BBC coverage, in my understanding of it, I might be being a bit of an idiot, or been a bit stupid in understanding this. I thought when they said they got free practice coverage, I thought it was going to be like how it used to be. So they'd have an FOM feed with the BBC Radio 5 Live commentary, which it apparently was not. And the bonus question, what was your favourite moment of the weekend? Well, because I'm a Williams fan, my favourite moment was an exceptionally long moment with Pastor Maldonado going hell for leather trying to get the Ferrari. Now I think he would have stood a good chance of, if nothing else, he would have been so close to taking it, or if he hadn't crashed on the last lap, he would have been achingly close. I think Pastor should have been told, you're in a good position to score more points, about 50% more points than what we scored last year with the FW33. Just hold station, we'll take the points, we'll take the finish, and we know the car, then we got some points in the bank, better start than last year. But that said, you know, it's racing, Williams are racers. Alonso had made some mistakes, and the Ferrari was clearly limping, so anyone would have had a crack at it. But my favourite moment of the entire weekend was the Pastor Maldonado and the Williams just trying to get close enough to overtake the Ferrari. So that's the end of the fan formula, and I'll go on to my usual Storm Space Productions stuff. I still need 2 females for voicing on Where's My Liberty. To do the voicing, it would only take you. It took me on my own, and I had to set up everything to do this. I was sort of testing whilst I was recording. It took me about 50 minutes to record my lines, so I only need you for about an hour. An hour's work just to help someone out would be fantastic. Also, I've got a few other sketches ideas in mind which I could do with some female voices for as well. So like I say, if you send a tweet to cwhite90999 or to @StormSpaceProd, we can talk and see what you'd like to do or help us do, or if you can even help us. Or if you haven't got either of those, email chris.stormspaceproductions@gmail.com and we'll go from there. And please make sure to keep checking out our videos. We put one out on Thursday. Our Blip page is blip.tv/stormspace. But yeah, well, I better be off. Thank you.